Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review You Were Never Really Here. And this is a very intense, powerful, unnerving film starring Joaquin Phoenix as a former Marine and FBI agent who's working with basically a private investigator trying to getting young girls out of sex trafficking, and there's this one particular case that really spirals his whole entire life out of control. And Lynn Ramsey, who directs and writes this film, does an amazing job of putting this film together as something that could. This runs an hour and 30 minutes. This could have easily been a generic revenge action movie, but that is not what this film is. This is a completely different animal, and what Ramsey's able to do in creating a tone and honestly a whole entire atmosphere around this film is really powerful and engaging, and you're just enthralled from start to finish. And it really does an incredible balance of its brutality in it. There's some sequences, there's some shots that are very gory and very graphic, and then there's other sequences where this film doesn't try to glorify violence. It shows it with its editing and its montage shots of showing you exactly what you need to see to understand what was done, and not needing to see all the brutal, gory details of everything going on. And how this film is edited, intersplicing shots of our main characters' past in throughout the film at important events throughout the film. These scenes with these shots just spliced in build so much tension and build so much character development behind what's going on during the actual story of the film. And it's so well done, and how this is put together with how the shots are all strung together, where the shots are made, everything and how it's put together really builds a lot of tension. Now, the cinematography is really well done by Thomas Townend, who's our director of photography, and this is a gorgeously shot film. And there's some really evocative shots in this film that just scream out at you. And you see, there's one particular shot that is so graphic and gory and unsettling, but is so unnerving and tells exactly how we're supposed to feel. And this shot shows us we're getting punched in the gut, and this film is taking a completely different turn. And another thing that keeps making this film feel so unnerving and unsettling is the score by Johnny Greenwood. And I know he could do that with There Will Be Blood, and what he does in this film, there's moments where I was sitting in the theater feeling so uncomfortable. And the interesting thing is, not that this film is similar to Mother from last year, but they both tried to do the same things of trying to make you feel really uncomfortable and overwhelmed with the senses. And I feel like this film does it with so much more subtlety and care and craft that I'm completely just sitting there. I felt like I was watching The Shining at points where I'm just like, I feel so uncomfortable and I have no idea what's coming next, but I'm afraid about what's coming next. And this film does that in such a fantastic way. And getting all to this point without talking about Joaquin Phoenix, who he's such an enigmatic actor at this point, where what he picks, he makes such interesting choices in terms of what films he wants to be in and the choices he makes in the films. And what he does in this film, he looks intimidating and unsettling to look at, with what he does with his beard and how his body is and the walk that he has and everything. And there's an interesting thing where a lot of the cinematography, it's long tracking shots. We get to see through his eyes what's going on. And there's this opening sequence where we're introduced to this character and we learn so much about him. And one of my biggest things that I could say about this film is unpredictable and takes you to a whole lot of different places, and really dark places, especially with our main character, with things that he does to cope with certain things going on in his life. But this honestly feels like a modern Taxi Driver, and not that it rips off Taxi Driver, but it's in the same vein of like, this is a really powerful, well crafted, strange anti-hero kind of thing. And it's just like, is this person even functioning like a normal human being anymore? Now, there's only a couple of shortcomings that I found with this film. The young woman who is like the main girl he's trying to save, I feel like her performance is really awkward and off and doesn't feel right. And I understand like this girl's been traumatized, but like couldn't really read anything off of her performance. And then there's stretches of this film where it does kind of draw to a halt and really starts taking its time. But overall, this is a fantastic film. This really sat with me. Like, I left the theater and I was in a completely different state of mind afterwards. It was a emotional day at the theater yesterday, and I highly recommend, if you're a fan of film and you can handle things going on in film that it's just like very, very tense, very graphic kind of stuff, but you really appreciate film, please go check this out. I'm going to give You Were Never Really Here an A.